Good evening. Well, this is the old New Street. It's a place that many of you will know only too well. But behind this door lies a £600 million makeover. So let's go inside. Now you're getting the first look at Europe's largest refurbishment programme. It doesn't actually open to the public until Sunday. Over the next half an hour, we'll be looking at how all of this came about. I'll also be talking to the man who's responsible for all the trains coming in and out of New Street Station. And we'll be asking, is Birmingham falling out of love with the car? We'll be going up there to see how Grand Central Shopping Centre is coming along. That opens next week, but is it on track? But first, our transport correspondent, Peter Plisner, has been finding out how all of this came about.
A big project for a big city, more of a makeover than a reconstruction, but the end result does give Birmingham something new and shiny to look at. Inside, the new concourse is 5 times larger than the old one. Remember these ticket barriers? Well, this is what the same area looks like now. And the car park outside the main entrance, it's now part of the new concourse and housing several retail outlets. The man in charge says it's Europe's biggest refurbishment project, and it hasn't been without its challenges.
The engineering that we've had to do to cut holes in structures the size of Wembley football pitch, to actually put a roof on a live station with all those people travelling beneath it, has been demanding, but really, really successful.
It all started back in 2010 when contractors moved in to turn an old car park into a new concourse. It meant removing huge blocks of concrete. Around the same time, Stevenson's Tower, an old council block of flats, was being demolished brick by brick to make way for a new John Lewis. The most impressive part of the new station has to be this atrium, bringing daylight down onto concourse level for the first time ever. It took 2 years to construct, and it really is the focal point of the new Street. And like with everything else, contractors had to do it with minimal disruption.
There's a train leaves the station every 37 seconds. So one of the key drivers from Network Rail was that we don't generate any disruption to the train and passenger service. And we've had very, very few train delay minutes due to the construction works.
New Street is the busiest interchange station anywhere in the country, and before the project started it was regularly overcrowded. More than 170,000 people use the station every day, double the number it was originally designed for. The new station will provide capacity for 300,000 passengers each day. And for many, the modernisation was long overdue.
I remember it back in 1960s and it was a black hole in the ground.
I was wondering what effect it had on people coming to the city for the first time.
It was a little bit on the gloomy side. It did need updating.
Down at platform level, the transformation is equally as dramatic, but there's still concern that the modernisation doesn't provide any more capacity for trains, and things like last-minute platform changes will continue to annoy passengers.
Yes, there's always been a problem here because of the tunnels at both ends. 12 platforms still. We hope in the long term HS2 will solve that problem. In the interim, obviously, it's just great to have a better lot of facilities for passengers at the top of the station, and I think people will value that.
While some platforms look complete, others don't, and the bad news is the work here will continue at least for another year. But on the plus side, after complaints about the cost of spending a penny, the new toilets at the station will be free for the first time in years. And along with the new station, Birmingham also has a new landmark which is already turning heads.
Absolutely magnificent. I think it's great. I love the look of it.
Birmingham's changed so much since we were kids, and this is just amazing to see it like this.
This afternoon, a VIP event to launch the new station with dancers dressed as contractors. Today's celebrations taking place less than 2 days before the station opens. The race is now on to make sure that everything's finished on time and ready for the first passengers on Sunday morning. Peter Plisner, BBC Midlands Today at the New Street Station.
From Network Rail, essentially his job is to make sure all the trains arrive and depart on time here at New Street. That's no small task, is it, Martin? It is incredible here. It's such a contrast to the New Street I think most people would remember. Yes. But there's still a lot of work going on.
We hope we can go back to Mary at New Street as soon as possible, where she's reporting live tonight. But let me just tell you that the car has long been seen as the ruler of Birmingham, with the Ring Road, the Aston Expressway and the tunnels dissecting the city. But as it undergoes major redevelopment, will public transport and the pedestrian become king? Ben Godfrey's been investigating.
Where's the warmth of the old Brum? How the devil do you get it back once you've lost it?
Some questions are still being asked, decades after Birmingham took its first transport leap.
The little lady with the shopping basket isn't the only person who uses a city.
A motorway called the M6 was built to ease our journeys through the West Midlands.
Here in 2015, this is what we've got. The road itself heaving under the weight of traffic, hard shoulder running, speed limits limited to 50 miles an hour, and that crawl into the second city.
On the Aston Expressway, it's bumper to bumper.
And as you enter Birmingham city centre, welcome to paradise. Oh, well, Paradise Circus anyway.
This will all be knocked down to improve the experience of the pedestrian.
Birmingham as a growing city is beginning to return its streets back to pedestrians and cyclists. And Paradise, the redevelopment of Paradise, is a perfect example of that. Places and streets and squares which will be enjoyable and make the city a walkable city.
People heading to Brum will soon see an extended Midland Metro and promised improved rail journeys.
Oh, it's a blue train.
We joined student Lucy Palmer on a rail journey from Stafford to Birmingham.
I can see them definitely getting busier with more and more people getting trains. The new street is attracting more people.
By the time the train reaches Coseley, it's standing room only. Next stop, New Street.
I, for example, pay nearly £2,000 a year for a train pass, and a lot of my journeys home I have to stand a lot of the way, and I think that they need to add more carriages.
Some of the figures are extraordinary. In 2013-14, there were more than 34 million entries and exits of passengers made at New Street, an increase of 11% from only 2 years earlier. Now, on the roads in 2014, drivers covered 3.7 billion miles in and around Birmingham, and that figure has hardly shifted since 1995.
Despite pleas from transport chiefs over decades to use buses, trains and trams, well, thousands of people are still using their cars.
But it is one thing to build a new city, but another to persuade people to enjoy it.
A predicted rail renaissance may just give commuters a reason to smile. Picture the thought. Ben Godfrey, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
And plenty more to come from New Street Station later. But other news now.